Today we're going to be looking at a Obi-Wan Arena hilt from episode 2. Now this particular hilt is made by One Replicas. It does have a Profi, NeoPixel, 28mm speaker, all the good stuff. So let's go ahead and start going over the chassis, or the work that was put into it, I should say. So unscrewing the emitter piece, you'll see the NeoPixel connector. Now we do have a stock V3 short pin connector for this particular build, and it is in its own separate like chassis, I guess you can call it. This chassis, it's like about this long, holds the connector. The six rotary, something with the 6 from Saber Bay. I'm not entirely sure. I'm sorry about that, guys. I always forget the name of those PCBs just because there's so many of them. But the removable PCB from Saber Bay for made by stock, it has the number 6 on it. That's all I know, because there's one that has a 6 and a 7. It's the one with the 6. And of course 2 micro tactile switches underneath. So let's go ahead and put this back in. Now that's what that chassis piece holds, the that separate little chassis piece. Now as for the main chassis itself, unscrewing the bottom piece, the pommel, you'll see that there is a spacer, just of course used to push up the chassis up against the pins and make sure that it has a nice connection. And to take it out, it is a very smooth fit. You just kind of cup your hand a little bit, shake it a little bit, and it'll come out right out. And you'll just hear that nice pop. And let's put this down. Now you got the female side of the PCB here on this end. That way you make sure that you don't, of course, poke anything like when the battery's in there. You got your Profi board. Easy access to your SD card right there. You just kind of pull it out like with your fingers if you really can, or if you have like a pair of tweezers, just get it from the side and pull it out. That's what I've been doing. You got my logo there. You got some greeblies here along the sides as well, here along the battery compartment. Now you got your 18650 removable battery compartment with your keystone contacts, a speaker, 28mm speaker from Saber Bay. This was sent to me by the customer, so I went ahead and used the speaker that he requested, or that he sent me. I don't know if I said kill switch, but of course there's your kill switch. And on the inside here, you can see the pins for the removable chassis PCB set. So let's go ahead and pop a battery in here. Now this is a very snug fit for a battery. Whenever I put this battery in, I do put it so that the aluminum, or the metal kind of strip that runs down the side of the battery, is angled to kind of like line up with these 3 buttons, or I'm sorry, with these 3 like cuts here, just so that it's not pushing up against the back of the battery, making it pop out more, or pushing up against the inside of the hilt, making it so that it's a very like rough, or not rough, but like, I guess you can say not smooth fit. So let's go ahead and pop it in. Now this, you'll pop it in there just like if you're putting a shotgun shell into a shotgun. You'll put the bottom in first, and then you just kind of like pop it in there. Now you turn it on.
There isn't time! Anakin and I can handle this!
Now this has a config that the client sent me, and it also has 1 sound font per his request. So it's not going to be too much to show, but let's go ahead and just pop this in there. Oh, hold on. Once we get it there, just push the chassis in, and then you can use the spacer to just kind of push the rest of it in if you really need to. There you go. So once it's in there, it's already on, and of course, like I mentioned, there's no other sound font, so
Master Kenobi, you disappoint me.
the aux at this point is not, like when it's off, doesn't really
Master Kenobi, you
switch to
disappoint
anything,
me.
because again, it is just the 1 sound font. Now let's go ahead and turn it on. It doesn't have swing on like I usually like to have, but it does have twist on and twist off. And of course, you can use the button to turn it on. let's go ahead and pop a blade in there. Remove the very nice looking blade plug. All right, there we go. So the retention screw is on the back side. Now, just something I wanted to mention. You know, I understand that they put it here because it's hidden, it's black. You know, but it's way down there. Like it's really close to the actual connector, so it's just like not too much support. But I mean, I don't know. Personally, I would have just preferred to have it up here, or maybe have this piece like unscrew and then have it like hidden underneath. But I mean, it does have a really tight blade socket anyways, like extremely tight. My test blade, which has the 7/8 inch connector, which is already sanded down a lot, kind of has like a little bit of a hard time going, like being inserted. So I guess that kind of makes up for it. That's also just a heads up to the customer. You know, once you get it, make sure that you have a blade that's sanded down quite a bit so that it can go, so that it can fit smoothly into this. All right, so let me tighten it just a bit more. There we go. There we go. So we'll go ahead and put the blade plug to the side. Get my 7/8 inch blade with the 1 inch blade adapter. Insert this. Now, like I mentioned, it's a very snug fit, so there we go. And pop it on. So let's go ahead and put this down again, just like how I like to do, from just so you can get a little bit of the aesthetic. So there you guys have it. This is the One Replicas Obi-Wan Arena hilt, and the sound font being used for this was the Kyberphonic OB2 with the Arena variant, because there's many variants from that with that actual sound font package that he offers. So let's go ahead and turn it back on. Oh, and of course, let's go over removing the battery. Just pop the blade out. Now it's going to take a little bit of force here. Give me a second. There we go. Y'all heard that pop. It was very, like, it's very snug in there. Unscrew the pommel, just like before. Now I'm going to do this off screen just because it's a little awkward doing this like there.
Master Kenobi, you disappoint me.
There we go. So again, what I had just done was cut my hand, go like that, comes right out. You can just kind of grab, do it a little bit more because I don't want to grab the lip of the speaker. All right, didn't move. There we go. All right, so now you just go ahead and slide it out. Now to get the battery out, same thing as all my other builds. You just get a little bit, you just get like a tool. You know, I use the back end of my coated pliers or tweezers. I don't know why I said pliers. And just very gently pop it out a little bit. Just like that. And once it's like that, I can just kind of pry it out myself. So there you guys have it. I will put the saber down with the speaker, or with the chassis to the side. Now this chassis will be available on my shapeways store. I see that One Replicas has a new version of the hilt. To anyone that may know the dimensions of it and know that if it's the same, you can go ahead and use this chassis for that. If it's not the same, then of course just feel free to reach out to me. I can try to get something done. Maybe adjust this one a little bit to have it work with that new version of it, but I'm not entirely sure, so I don't want to say that this will work with this version of the hilt. I believe this is a new one. The only reason I say that is because I looked it up, and I saw that he was selling some that don't have this little silver strip on it. So I'm assuming maybe he just made a new one. But if it's the same thing, then by all means you can use it. And I also wanted to just mention, sorry for not putting out all my chassis on my shapeways. I've honestly just haven't really been doing that too much because a lot of people have been messaging me about doing it through like Craft Cloud or other options because it's just more affordable. Now, of course, if that's something that you guys want to do, you can always feel free to reach out to me. Any chassis that I make that is up on my shapeways, I never mind offering it through Craft Cloud. Even with like the little bit of markup that I put on it, just so that I can get what I would get through shapeways, it still ends up being cheaper. So it's really up to anyone that wants to go that route. But I'll get back on that and start putting up my chassis again on shapeways. It's just something that again just passes by me. But thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed this build. It was a really fun, very nice, clean one for me. I really enjoy doing these builds just because, I don't know, I find these chassis like just very satisfying, very convenient. But again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy. Later.